I've only been on the radio once. Also didn't enjoy that.
You didn't enjoy that? Hey, I got a face for radio, so it's perfect for me.
I've been told that. Are these right and left?
I think the wire is on the left side.
Yeah, they're a little funky. They do say, what do they say?
It doesn't. I mean, I'm deaf in the right ear, so it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's probably just how it fits.
However they feel comfortable, to be honest.
Okay, cool.
Make sure this is all
Can you hear?
Do not disturb.
Yeah.
All this crap. Okay.
You sound really good when you're. Wow, this even sounds
Yeah,
better.
that's right. Right?
I was really surprised when we were done with it. I was like,
Did he say fist away? Yeah, about there.
Yes,
Yeah.
fist away.
And don't be shy. You can move these around. You hear the rumble, but you won't. It doesn't translate into the actual recording. So
actually,
don't.
cool.
Do you?
that for
Are
me?
we just practicing for a second?
Oh,
whatever you need.
Yeah,
Good.
we're probably recording right now.
We
But
are
what we'll
recording,
do,
but we're not going.
We'll edit what we don't want out. So
Why? What's going?
you know, if you need to get your Tourette's out or whatever, go for it.
No, leave that in the podcast.
That's it. You want?
We like to hear it pop.
You want to hear? Okay.
You know, so then like that's kind of our thing. Like we'll pop them on then talk about it.
Hi, Danny.
Hello there.
Mike, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, it's good to have
Thank
you
you.
back, guys.
Cayce here.
Cayce, it's finally nice to meet you. Nice to finally meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you guys. I was just thinking about how we were introduced,
Yeah.
and I had seen the original email come across. Hey, you guys want to do this? And I'm like, yes. And as things happen, you get busy, and so I never got back to you. And then I saw another thing pop up, and I was like, you know what? And then I happened to be, I think I might have even been in Colombia, and I was like, you know what?
Y'all were
You know what?
traveling.
We're definitely doing that podcast.
Yeah,
so
man.
then by the time I got around to it, Angie had already set it up, and I think you guys had already, got some dates in. I'm like, okay, well, it's good thing somebody's in charge.
Yeah,
around
Jason's
here, so-
good about getting those dates out there. I get calendar invites
Oh, yeah,
constantly.
there you go. But that was also during the holidays. It's chaotic.
It was,
everybody. Wasn't it December?
Mid-December.
And there was also some other stuff that was involved in that. I mean, I don't know.
We had Mike on.
Yeah, man.
This is would this be 1.2, 1.2,
1.2
or 2.0?
or 1B. No?
Meridian 2.0.
2.0. The real release.
Sure. The re-release.
Yeah. So, but welcome back, Mike.
Thanks.
Cayce, welcome to the Austin All Day podcast.
Thanks for having me.
For those of you who don't know, Meridian Hive, the mead. We have a whole episode going through all of it. Yep.
Yeah.
It was a good one. There's no video. We were just discussing that. For anybody who's actually looking for the content, the video was corrupted. But this one, hopefully, fingers crossed.
We
folks.
shall have video,
Yeah.
shan't we?
So, yeah, we were talking about getting both of you guys on here. We weren't able to happen, but we got the brain's take on things.
That's it.
And we were having a talk about this.
Yeah, you know,
Was the brain... He's like, you are the brain
Of the products, I suppose.
of the products, and you are the brains. So there's two brains here.
so it's a right and a left brain.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Or maybe just half a brain.
Collectively.
Half a brain.
I like it. Well, half's better than zero.
That's it. Yeah, Mike and I function very differently in the business, but collectively we pull together what needs to get done.
Yeah.
And what is your role in Meridian Hive?
So I'm the CEO, and I have been in that role more or less since I started, although, titles and everything really didn't start to change to official company titles until we started getting a little bit bigger and start going out looking for investment. And we just had some mentors saying, Cayce, nobody wants to hear from the director of sales, right? They want to hear from the CEO. And so I had really been leading the business side anyway for the last couple of years, so it just was really a title change.
Well, Meridian Hive is on the map now.
Good. I'm glad that we are. It's been a long road.
You see it like that? I mean, I see it everywhere.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a one of a kind product, and it's like we talked about last time. People, when they first hear the word mead, a lot of people think of like the Renaissance Festival, and you think of this like really high-powered sort of like almost crazy to palate novelty item. Right, but then you taste the Meridian Hive, and it's this wonderful beverage that is a great replacement for beer. And that's a big thing right now.
Well, what we had CM Smokehouse in here last time, and we were like, "You want the mead?" He's like, "No."
He's like,
no,
"Mead."
I was like,
No.
You got to try it. So yeah, he got some of that.
I
Did, yes.
I believe very drinkable was what we said.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
My favorite I left here.
The cherry.
Yeah, and we enjoyed the ones that were left here, just so you know.
Great.
Right. Well, we brought a few more today,
Well, maybe we could enjoy those soon.
just in case.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so for part of me to come in, I've been a part of the project since the beginning back in 2012. And Mike and I have known each other for a lot longer than that. And won't go back to how many years that is.
The
but
1900s.
in the 1900s.
Well, how'd y'all
for
get
sure.
together?
The Renaissance.
Is there a
So-
story?
Well, we met in, both of us ended up graduating engineering school from UT.
Okay.
But neither one of us started there. I think we met at Austin Community College.
Correct.
Mike, I'm going to leave it at whatever reason Mike ended up at community college instead of going straight into UT. For me, I got convinced to go to college just as something else to do rather than sit around doing whatever I was doing in Austin in the early 90s. And I hadn't yet figured out what I wanted to do with myself. And I think it was a calculus class or something. Diffie Q. That we started, we met, we started hanging out, doing some homework together. And as you will, at the end of a long session of differential equations and long day at school, we decided to have a few drinks. And we were at a guy's house. I can't even remember his name, but he had a drum set. And I was like, man, I am super beat. My brain is smoked. Let's just have a couple of beers. And I went into the room and started banging the hell out of the drums. And Mike just came over and said, "Do you always play like that?" Something like that, right?
Something like, yeah.
He's like, "Man, I got this guitar player that would love to have you in the band." And I think that's pretty much how we started hanging out more than just doing homework together and trying to get through these upper level math classes.
Yeah, drummers
Meat
are
from
rare.
drums. I like it.
Drummers are rare and singers are rare.
Well, good singers.
Good singers.
Well, good drummers too.
Were you brewing at that time?
Oh, no.
No, okay, so not brewing, but
That
had a
came
couple
way
beers.
later.
Yeah.
We practiced first with just drinking.
Oh yeah. You got to understand what your product is.
We practice with the drinking. Oh, so are you still a drummer?
I am not. Kind of like I have some golf clubs, but I'm definitely not a golfer, right? So
Yeah.
very similar. And I wasn't much of a drummer back then, but at the time, I feel the need, right? It was, can you play them hard? Can you play them fast and keep time? And I did mostly my job there.
There you go.
And Mike was the bass player, so we had a good time as the rhythm section.
Mike turned me on to some cool music when he left last time.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Tia Carrera.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, we had it playing earlier today.
Yeah, it's right up my alley.
Good stuff.
Like spot on. So thank you for that too.
So tell me about this. Is this like a thing? I want to do that.
We're looking at an image on the
Oh,
Instagram.
That's our new operations coordinator, and that was the first time I saw that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, with the Meridian Hive. I mean, that sounds fun.
Yeah, there's been some folks doing some
Have you tried
shotguns.
it?
I have not.
Is
Not
that the
yet.
Blackberry?
That is it is the Blackberry shotgun and the Blackberry. That looks like a party.
Yeah, that's definitely a party. So, what did you guys started to collaborate? I mean, we kind of went over some of this, but on your side, what's your end of the story?
So I believed in I don't know, for whatever reason, have
'Cause you
been
got into the brewing.
fan of Mike. I actually moved away to Australia in 2009. Mike started brewing just
To the
before
land down
that,
under.
2005.
2006 maybe some.
So, and I had lived in Denver. I moved away from here, and I'd lived in Denver for 10 years, and then I moved to Australia.
Whoa.
Whenever I came
Why
back,
Australia?
well, why not?
Oh, you just moved there with not business?
No, I went there for a work assignment. I went for a 2-year work assignment and came back about 10 years later.
What's your favorite memory of Australia? Did you do like Uluru, all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I've done Uluru. One of my favorite things was we flew. I live in the Southwest, so the equivalent to the U.S. of we'll call it San Diego. All right.
Is that where Sydney is?
No, that's it's Perth.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Sydney's in the southeast. So we flew to Brisbane and rented a camper van and drove all the way across Australia back to Perth.
Now, when you say across, like not through the center.
Not
right?
through the center, which is what most people would do. Think about as if you were to fly from San Diego to Washington, D.C. and drive back to San Diego, but by way of the Canadian border.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so we
Because
put-
it's like the outback.
yeah, it's
You got
very
to know
much.
how to survive, right?
It's a little bit better than that these days. They
Okay.
have roadhouses in some towns, but there's a lot of nothing out there. So we went for the scenery. We had such a great time. I think it took us about 7 days to get from Queensland over to back into Western Australia, which is a lot of kilometers. But after we got there, then we took about 25 days just taking our time all the way from Broome, Australia, all the way down the coast through Sharks Bay, and just ended up having a really great
That's
time.
amazing.
Yeah.
Australia's
Sounds
cool.
incredible.
And peaceful, right?
It can be peaceful for sure, and it's the same size as the U.S. geographically, but there's just no people there.
About 20% of the 20% of the land is populated. Oh my goodness. Maybe less than that.
Less than that.
Less than that.
I
Absolutely.
had heard that like more people live in LA than Australia. I don't know if that's right. Something like that. Or California, maybe.
It is California. It's definitely more than California. So there's about 23 million, I think, in Australia
There's more
right
than
now.
more in Texas that lives.
That's crazy.
There's like 30 million in Texas.
And Texas is spread out too.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
there's
it.
parts of it, yeah. Not Austin. So that's cool. So that's a great memory.
So that's fun. But I mean, just every day we have a 4-wheel drive over there and a pull behind trailer, camp trailer, and it's just stuff you can't really do over here. We just load up the trailer, drive down the road for a couple of hours, hop over onto the sand dunes and the beach, camp just above high tide line, and you won't see anybody for a week. Especially if you've got the free time to go during the week. Then people start coming in on the weekend and things like that. But just to have the entire ocean to yourself, all
Oh my
the
gosh,
dunes,
as far as you can see.
yeah. And it helps if I'm a bit of a nut when it comes to 4-wheel driving.
Yeah.
So I had an 80 series Toyota Land Cruiser, which are pretty indestructible, although I tried to break it a few times.
You have to try.
You have to try.
Right.
And, so doing those are the memories that I really I love. I'll get back there someday for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. It's amazing. I'd heard that the Uluru is the giant rock, but it's actually like sacred, and the Aborigines, is it the Aborigines who it's sacred to?
Yes.
They like don't want people climbing up that, and it's just like a tour
I
trail.
think they banned
Oh, they
people
did?
recently.
Oh,
It's-
interesting.
It is highly frowned upon, and
But
if you just
did it
don't
at the
care,
time? We didn't know. I didn't. I was there. I did the Uluru.
you
once.
did. Okay, so it depends on when it was. These days, that's pretty frowned down upon, and you
wow.
do it at your own sort of, I guess, ethical choice to do it or not,
Yeah.
right? So
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just grabbing a rope and
Yeah, I never went up it because when I went, it was
okay.
yeah, it was not
Yeah, I
not
was
something
young.
that you did.
I was young when I went. Very fortunate to go.
Okay.
But coolest, longest plane ride ever.
Yes.
But very, very cool.
Do the toilets flush backwards?
I don't remember. Do they?
They're a different style altogether. They don't swirl. They just suck
Suck it
straight
down.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Aussies, I tell you what.
So very interesting. Australia for work, and then you come back here. Is that what you?
I did come back here. Yeah. So the job I had was an American company, and I just happened to be based in Australia. I'd come back, and when I came back, I'd try to come and see my friends. I'd come see Mike and go to his house, and what'd you have a kegerator or a fridge that had about 10 or 11 kegs
Yeah,
in
you
it?
came
your
back,
room
and
at
he's
this
like a
time.
mad scientist, like
Yeah.
making. Yeah.
The formal dining room was nothing but beer.
So you just go in and you just find a tube and you sort of taste it back to what the hell beer is this, and it'd be labeled on there. Or you say, Mike, what is this one? Every one of them better than what you can get in a bar.
Yeah.
Most of them better than what you can get in a bottle. I thought, man, this is really good. You should probably do something with this, right? And so that's kind of how I knew Mike was getting into this kind of stuff. And that was early. That was 2010, 2011. And then I said, you should do something like this, and I'll be your one of your first sort of, when you go out for a business venture, you get money from friends, fools, and family. Well, I was the first fool to back the venture of Meridian Hive. And originally it was meant to be a brewery, right? And so Mike sends me this business plan. This is for a meadery. I'm like,
what is
what the
this?
hell is a meadery?
Yeah,
man?
yeah. Because you
have done lost your mind.
Meanwhile, you've brewed every type of beer,
Yeah, about 70% of the styles.
and you've kind of like. I mean, it's
I found the ones that I
pretty
like.
cool.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was the reason, Mike, that I recall is that lots of people are starting breweries. There's going to be too many, everything like this. This is going to
This
be
is the logic.
a niche, and this is going to be something that's not out there at all. And that was definitely true then, and it's still pretty true today.
seems to be
I'm
true.
still amazed that there are not more people fermenting honey and doing what we're doing around here. There's a few more up in the East Coast and Northeast, and there's a few out in California.
I've seen like Elgin Meadery, but is that totally different?
Totally different.
Yeah. That's like the old school stuff.
It's the high ABV versions. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 2012. I probably wrote the first check as an investor and pretty much stayed out of it for a while. I'd come back and visit, and they had built a hive and had some equipment in there, and kind of looked around and thought, okay, this is cool. This is kind of a cool project, and watching the revenues. I mean, looking at the investment and thinking, okay, is this going to be getting there or not getting there, like anything else? And I think about 2015, Mike's partner Eric and Mike gave me a call and said, hey, we're doing pretty well. I don't know if I can say what the revenues were, but they're decent revenues for a small company. They were running out of product. There were, it was just some issues. Can you help us out?
We need more money.
It was more than more money, it turned out. And so I started doing. At the time, I wasn't doing much. I had, at this point, quit that job that had taken me to Australia, and I was just doing some consulting at the time. So I started doing some business advisory for the guys, and really just started like, okay, let's start looking at your inventory. Let's look at your cost of goods. Let's start looking at some of the boring business type stuff, but stuff you need to look at if you're going to have
become successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
And I think it just started working where I would meet with them once a fortnight, and I would give them assignments. You need to put this in place, and then come back. And I think that was working quite well. And it came about, I think that was early 2015. And then it got to a point where it's like, this might be able to be something. So I left Australia. I told my partner, I'll be back. I'm flying to America for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to go see this. I'm going to go see Mike and Meridian Hive, and I'm either going to light this investment on fire and call it good, or I'm going to double down. And when I arrived, I went out of course, I came into the hive. I looked at what was going on. I kind of had been doing advisory, so I could kind of see now what I was looking at on paper with the reports and things like that. And I could see these are all things that are fixable, right? Mm-hmm. So when I was in the corporate world, these were all things that were fixable from a manufacturing, from a process. Absolutely. And so I was more interested in the product and how it was perceived. So I went on a couple of days sales run with the sales rep. And I am still to this day not sure if she just planned it to where every store we went to was just blown away and purchased it like on the day, or if it just it is that good. I mean, you guys have had it, and when it's not what you're expecting. And I thought, okay, there's definitely something here, and that's when we sat down as a group, and I said, I can come on board. If I come on board, we're gonna change a few things, and we're gonna run this more like a successful company, and we're gonna have to put some things in place that aren't here today. And are you guys prepared for that? And it was. I wasn't too harsh about it.
No, I mean, that's just a matter of fact. That's why we asked you back in there. We got it up to a point where our business acumen was, where do we go with this at this point? We didn't know how to grow it. We didn't really know how to. I mean, I don't have a business background, so It was entrepreneurial spirit and enough knowledge to get me X far. But up to some point, we were just kind of plateaued, and we was like, well, I know we can do more with this, but we didn't know what to do. And Cayce had a lot of knowledge base on that, being just a business consultant. And it's like, can you start tomorrow? Can you help out with? You have an investment in this, so how much can you help us to help clarify things? And so it was a natural fit.
It's easier to see far when you're standing on someone's shoulders.
Yeah, I think I have the idea behind a lot of stuff. Didn't know how to.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, gentlemen. Yeah. Thank you guys all for coming in.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah. Having a good idea and someone with the business mind, a lot of times they just need a product that what can I do with this? This thing is good to go. Like you said, it was totally a sellable product. And it just needed a lot of finessing of the business side of things. Need a lot of lots of massaging.
Well, and with it, I mean, I'm looking at your website right now, and we may have talked about this before, but it's got a good philosophical backing behind it. You know, you're be conscious.
Absolutely.
So did that start at the beginning?
That did not start at the beginning. And, you know, I mean, I think there's a lot, it's almost like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing well? What is making a difference here, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was the product is great. And if you go try and sell mead to someone, you know, the first thing they say is, you know, I don't have anybody asking for mead. And then that's it. So we're really even trying to go away from mead. But
yes,
back to the be conscious, it really is, hey, look, we are wanting to promote bee health, right? I mean, without the bees, there's a certain 40% of the food that is, you know, pollinated by bees and things like that. And so they were really in trouble. I think they're still really in trouble, but not as much as they were a few years back. And so it's just something that, hey, look, we ferment honey. We buy a bunch of honey. We need the bees. Let's give back to the bees. So let's be conscious about what we do. And so we wanted to bring that message in and be able to really support that. And kind of we've taken it a step further as well in that, you know, when we started out, we were buying honey from a broker, a big honey broker, and they probably do 70 million tons of honey or something like that in various kinds. And they probably service all of the bakers and all the different types of honey. But we use a specific type of honey. I'm sure you guys talked about using orange blossom honey. And normally that either comes out, if you want it from the U.S., from California, or from Florida.
Oh, I thought Mexico now. No?
It is definitely Mexico. So that's what we did as we were going through this broker. It's like, where can we get something a little more regional, right? I see. And so that's when we decided to go down and really start pursuing a relationship with a northern Mexican apiary. Nice. And I'm not sure if Mike told you guys, and if so, I apologize to the listeners on this one, but it literally took 12 to 15 months to set up that relationship, just between, I suppose, the language difference, just making the connection, having them understand sort of what kind of scale we were looking to buy at, and for me to even understand without going down there to see them, like, what scale do they have? Like, can they support what we're doing and things like that?
Yeah.
And so in order to kick that off, after probably 7 months of just trying to go back and forth and emails and things like that, really I just said, you know what, I'm going to fly down there so we can just get all of the uncertainties out of the way. We happen to have a friend that lives in Monterey. He met me at the airport. He acted as my translator. They don't speak any English, and my Spanish is fairly limited. And we just worked out that what I was asking for, they thought I was asking for something totally different, and what they were trying to sell me, I thought was something totally different. So it really just worked out really well. They invited me into their house. We had breakfast. I took some of the product down and said, this is where your honey's going to end up. They were completely blown away. Even to this day, they keep asking, can we start making Meridian Hive in Mexico and selling it in Mexico City and things like that?
That would be cool.
My answer is always yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's just figure out the right timing and where we are and our priorities and things like that. And I've been back a couple of times since then. And one of the reasons why it took so long to get the deal together was we went down there and we agreed at a high level, this is what we want to do. This is about how much consumption we're going to take. And they showed me there where they process it, because they go around to all of the beekeepers around northern Mexico. They bring it together. They do the filtering and all of that for us, right? And he said, yep, we can do that. And then a month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and I'm thinking, you know, I mean, I know mañana and everything. Like, I understand, you know, time delays and things like that. When I went back down 3 or 4 months later, they had put all this new kit in. They had a new heating system to help the honey flow through their operation. They had been previously only delivering honey in drums, like a 55-gallon drum. And so the holes in their manufacturing facility were large enough to slide a drum through. Well, we asked them to put them in these huge totes.
Yeah.
So I went back. They're cut new holes in their factory. They put new conveyor systems in. They put a new filtration kit in there. They had spent
rose to your level.
A lot of time and effort putting this stuff together. Yeah. And I was just blown away. And I thought, this is this is exactly the kind of partnership that we wanted. And these guys have been in business for 30 years, and they've been shipping stuff to Japan and to Europe and things like that. But they wanted also somebody a little bit closer to home.
Sure.
And so it's just been really a great relationship. And every time I go down there, it's usually something new, part of the deal that we discuss and things like that. And even though we don't speak the same language, the father always takes us out to dinner where we eat just goat 7 ways, and we
But
go
it's
out to.
amazing.
It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Man, you're talking a language.
And then we just drink a lot of tequila and have a good time, And so it's really a great story for me to be able to go down there. And I mean, I feel like it's supplier development that, this is what we want to do. And if you want to make this a long-term relationship, if you could invest and help us package it the right way and get it to us. And they did exactly that. So that's a good story.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go buy some Meridian Hive right now.
It did. So 2015, to rewind back to 2015, where they were, you weren't plateaued. You just needed him, and you came in. What are sort of the things you were looking for, or looking at that you could improve specifically, or
growth
is that boring
opportunities
to talk about?
Yeah, well, sure. If you want to talk about, so the first thing that we did, and I did just a little bit of market research myself, we were not having enough people pull it off the shelf. And I don't know do you ever just bring any of the old packaging?
Oh, we talked about this, the labeling and stuff.
The labeling.
Brown bottles.
Dark brown bottles. It was a very creature/character-driven theme on the bottles. I don't want to say it was necessarily Renaissance Fair, but it could have easily fit into that sort of genre, into sort of that theme. And it just didn't match what was inside.
Yeah.
Literally, I'd go to friends' house, and these were 30-something-year-old women, men, and I'd say, hey, you guys, I'm joining this company. You want to try something? They'd look at the bottle, and they say, yeah, no, thank you.
Death metal bottle.
So I would say, no worries, I got some other stuff as well. I'd go in the other room, I'd pour it in a glass and take it back. I got this instead at the store, and they drink it, and they were like, wow, this is good. You should join something like this. And I'm like, okay. There's definitely a disconnect between what the packaging says and what's inside.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Is that new?
that's new.
That's new. It's not even out yet.
We're looking
Yeah.
at a variety pack.
No, well, there's something special about the variety pack too.
Yeah, so
wanna
you're
talk
looking
about
at you're looking at our new. We can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll finish
Yeah.
up some of the things. So that's part of what we did, and that is to rebrand the company.
Yeah.
So it took a little while. Mike and I don't want to say we never butt heads, but we butt heads in a good.
Should. We butt heads.
I
Through
I
conflict,
suppose-
there's truth.
Yeah, and I think in a productive way.
Yeah.
It's definitely productive.
And so it took a little while to say, look, Mike, what you're doing is great. What are you looking at? Why is the branding the way it is? Why is the story? And really, Meridian Hive, and Mike told you about the Meridian lines being about the geography and exploration, and bees are explorers. And it's like, that's great. Let's keep that part of the story. But all of this stuff looking backwards, the gold foil and the banners and all of this dark sort of creature stuff, that's all looking backwards. Why don't we take and look forward and make this like a modern mead story? Like, this is a drink of the future as opposed to a drink in the past. And I think if you go to any meadery website and you go look at it, it's the first words on any meadery's website. Mead is the oldest historical drink ever known, and it was dated back to
Yeah, you don't want to tell that story.
whatever, right? I mean, just no offense to all the meaderies out there. It's just not. Some people are into it, and I think it's an okay story, but that's not going to get you.
It's exactly
on
why
the
you
shelf
steered
at
away from a
HEB.
brewery. It's a niche,
Yeah. So
It's a deep niche.
the branding is really what we decided to change right away. So I got lucky. I've got a great friend up in Denver, Colorado, and I called him and said, hey, would you like to be the quote unquote creative director on this? You don't have anybody to answer to. You don't have a client telling you it has to be this or that. Just free reign with what you want to do. And he took on the challenge, and he said, hey, I can do a lot of the stuff, a lot of the creative, a lot of the photography, but I'm going to have to bring somebody in, if you don't mind, for some of the logo and some of the computer graphics and things like that. This guy's really good. And so that's a great story as well. So we had a different logo at the time. Their first introduction to us was the logo, the creation of a new logo. So I had been working with these guys. Meanwhile, I went back to Australia, was running all of this from Australia from 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm doing lots and lots of Zoom calls before Zoom was popular by COVID, by the way.
Zoom.
And wish I'd bought stock in it. Then, so I introduced Mike. This is the new creative team. And keep in mind, Mike was the creative team before that. So it's like, I'm not saying that your
stepping
baby's
on his
ugly,
toes,
but you know.
I was accepting of it. I mean, it took me a little while
Right.
because I did I'm not a graphic artist, but I did the logo, and I was like, kind of giving that up. Like, what are we going to keep from this? And I guess the only thing we kept from this is the name and the tap handle design. That is it.
We let you keep your name.
Yes.
We were going to change his name because there's already like Mike's Hard Lemonade. We were like, can you change it to like Bob or something, you know? So.
What's your middle name?
Yeah, that's it. So
boring.
the introduction to the creative guys was in this logo. And Mike shows up and he goes, look, guys, I only have a couple of things to say here.
None of it works.
He says, I'm open. I don't want any bees and I don't want any hexagons.
And that's what
Right.
you got.
And honey dippers. That was the other thing too.
Oh, and a honey dog. Like Mike, like you just didn't want any of the cliche sort of
Right.
things that are associated with fermenting honey and mead and things like that.
Yeah.
And the guys sort of looked sheepishly because they had already had these designs. And
They'd already been working on it for a couple of weeks or
Right.
whatever, and so the first thing they were about to show us what they had. And
it was not too far off of this.
Okay.
And Mike said, "Oh, I don't hate that." And both of those guys, they're creatives and they work in the field, so they're used to. You can just tell them all their stuff sucks, and they just have thick skin and stuff. And whenever Mike said that, they were like, "We'll take that. We'll take that. I don't hate that."
I'm kind of a softie sometimes. And I'm like, all right. I mean, it's
But they went through, after they heard that, then they went through about 18 other logo designs with different things. And at the end of the day, we came back with this one. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it was
With a little bit of
It's like-
changes. Yeah.
I mean, well, they showed us like 8 different ones, and all of them had bees on them. That was like the first that day when I was like, okay, these are the things I'm hoping we're not. The creative director had handed over like kind of a brief to the designer, and it was behind the scenes, so we didn't know it was already going on, and he'd already gotten the brief. He'd already got the designer stuff back, so he was going to show us. But it was our first meeting. He was going to wow us that first day. And I was like, well, these are the things I really don't like. And he was like, okay, I was about to show you. All 8 of them have bees on them. That's great.
So that was the first thing. So we got to change the brand. We got to let people know that what's inside of this is really delicious. It's colorful. It's beautiful, right? It's clean. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so those things just weren't there in that packaging. And I guess we either took a flyer, we got lucky, or I'm not sure exactly why. We were going to go into clear 12-ounce bottles. That way people could see the color, all of that. And about the same time, I'm not exactly sure how we ended up with this, but our partner was contemplating buying like a pretty expensive bottling line, which I knew from the books we didn't have any money to buy an expensive bottling line. And also, this whole transition to beer cans, everybody was just going to cans. Everybody's going to cans.
Stays colder longer.
Yeah, it's basically
No light
keeps
gets to
it fresh, no lights. It's really a miniature keg. It's perfect storage.
But none of the meaderies we knew, no one was
There's
doing
no
it.
mead cans.
No mead cans. We were going to be the first
So
ones.
another
that
way
we
to
were.
set yourself apart.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So we actually did the rebrand and the launch into cans at the same time in September of 2016. So it took us, I think I started in February. It took us a few months to get all of that down,
But
rebrand. And it wasn't just let's change the logo and let's change the colors. Like we tried to do it properly. What do we stand for? Why did you make this? Who is Meridian
Those marketing
Hive? Like, it was
meetings.
really...
Those were painful, long marketing meetings.
You know you loved them.
It was actually a very, very interesting exercise to go through and talk about, like, as Meridian Hive as a character. Like, how does that character talk to the other marketing, like, market segments? I mean, obviously you want to appeal to every person.
Yeah.
But at some point you go, well, these people are more likely to be the people that are going to be in there. So not only do you have the individual people that drink and you give them kind of a male, female persona and like kind of what they physically look like, but you have like the buyers too. And those end up being part of your demographics too.
Yeah, because they're your ambassadors for to
Well, they're the ones that you're exchanging money with, first of all.
Yeah.
And then you have to get the people to pull it off the shelf. So they are a customer, but they're not the people drinking it. They're the ones reserving it. But nonetheless,
but they're going to sell it for you.
they're going to sell it for us. And how does Meridian Hive, as all of our branding, the way we look, the way we present ourselves, are we classy? Are we like more like blue collar? Or
it's a story.
It's the whole thing. But
Yeah.
going through those and trying to get everybody on board to say this is what the character is. We had never really done that.
Yeah,
That's
beforehand.
interesting.
That's a fun exercise.
It was, and we had too many chefs. We had too many chefs in the kitchen at that
A lot
time.
of chiefs.
A lot of chiefs.
Very few Indians.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but we got out of it alive, and I would say, much to the chagrin of our head of marketing, we have made slight changes to labels since then. We have made slight changes to lots of things, colors, things like that. But the idea was, let's get something down, and let's cement ourselves as Meridian Hive with a new logo, delicious drinks, just a variety of flavors, and a nice color palette. And then from there, as we sort of put it on the shelf, as we get consumer feedback, we'd say, oh, people don't realize you're supposed to drink it cold. So the next label run, let's
Serve cold.
Let's serve cold, right? Or people don't know that's sparkling, right? People don't know it's carbonated. All right, let's put bubbles on that, right? And we just make these changes, but it didn't necessarily. It's not like someone could not find it on the shelf that was there.
The logo was still the same.
Logo's still there.
Moved around on the can, and colors were pretty much. We changed the names of them. We used to have fancy names. We went to more, it was already a niche product, so we had a fancy name. You really didn't know what it was. People just said, "Hey, can I get the purple one?"
Right.
I like how it says honey in the thing that you didn't want it to say honey with.
Oh, the dipper.
Yeah, and then you got lightly carbonated, served cold.
That's it.
We
That's
did go into like just simplifying the names last time, but am I mistaken? Do I need to go re-listen to this? Did we discuss the name Meridian Hive? Do you recall this?
I don't remember discussing the name.
I don't
Meridian
know.
Hive.
We might have, but,
Did y'all go-
Meridian Hive really came from the idea that bees are explorers, and so I
don't
think at the
think we
time,
discussed this.
the original logo looked. I've seen pictures where you can see bees on their, building a natural hive under an alcove. They'll make, the individual rows, but they'll tend to be like half circles. And so I saw a picture of that, and I turned it sideways and just framed it. Made it complete, kind of look like a Chinese lantern, and it had a center dividing line. And I was like, oh, it's like the prime meridian. Oh, it's kind of like, it's latitude, longitude. It's
gotcha.
and
This
so
guy.
that's where it came from. Is but basically explorers.
I love that.
Yeah, that imagination of yours.
Telling stories.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So
But you came out of the gate swinging February 2016. I mean, like the whole new brand.
this is
was a new
and that
company.
it was before I left Austin. I said these are some of the things that are going to change. We're getting out of this packaging. No more big 500 ml brown bottles, and we're changing the branding, and we're gonna do more planning. I mean, I think we were running out of product. We weren't having enough ingredients. Cash flow is still a problem. Don't let me confuse myself here. But it was just, we are going to put more professional processes in place. We're going to make sure that we know what we're doing. We're going to forecast better, right? All of those kinds of things. So. Before I left, that we knew what the plan was, and then I just went back to Australia, and we just started executing it, week in and week out, and meetings, and putting it down, better metrics in place. I'm maybe embarrassed to say, but I don't even know if we knew what our cost of goods sold were in 2015.
You probably didn't really think that there was a need to at that point, and then you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is going somewhere. We got to figure stuff out."
Yeah, well, I knew there was a need to, which is why I think these guys called me,
Yeah.
and not to know how much inventory you had and how much your cost of goods and were products profitable or
Are
not
we really making
profitable.
money here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like, again, we got, when I say plateau, that's where we were just kind of winging it to a point and going, I know we can do better than this. We just kind of hit this point, like, we don't know if we're making, we don't know where how much everything really costs.
Where'd those cans come from?
Right. There was a lot of that. It's like, we need to improve these processes a lot. And that's where, like I said, his knowledge base is.
Yeah.
So, what was the job in Australia? What is your background? What did you end up doing?
When I went there,
I mean, where did you gather all this knowledge?
Yeah. What was your company in?
so
Can you say?
Supply chain, really. It was a lot of
It was a lot of supply chain and administration. So I built and ran global teams
Okay.
for, we'll call it, some of it process improvements. I have a black belt in Lean Six Sigma, so continuous improvement, real process engineering. But a lot of what I did was program management across a number of different mine sites. So I worked in gold mining, which is not a sexy industry. Gold mining is, I had come out of an internet, I don't want to call it a startup, but a systems integrator that is moving into building web-enabled systems back in the early 2000s and things like that. Had left there, went into mining, which was a complete culture shock. But it just so happened that they had a new CEO that was very interested in modernizing, and he was also very interested in, why is my mine in Peru and Indonesia and Nevada and Uzbekistan all turning big rocks into little rocks, but they're all doing it differently? And why do we buy the same stuff from different suppliers? And why do we plan differently? And why do we manage inventory differently? And because one, it's hard, and two, no one has ever run this company as a centralized operation.
There's no process.
Right? There is, each individual site had a process.
Yeah, but it was like a function. You get the gold and you put the gold here. How you do it, that's up to you.
That's right. And so it was a decentralized model. And at that time, in the early 2000s, everything was moving more towards centralization, right? You look at the big iron ore companies, you look at the big nickel companies and the big gold companies, and everything was going to more of a centralized model. And we won't sit here and debate whether who's right or who's wrong. They're just different models.
Is you're looking for best practices, right? You're looking for the most effective way to get it. And so having that knowledge and that knowledge base and that history was great for you to be able to come into a manufacturing, because basically you're getting the gold and you're trying to figure out how to get the gold to where it needs to go.
It's all just different process, whether it's a planning process, whether it's a manufacturing process, whether it's a maintenance practice.
Logistics, whatever.
That's it. That's it. So it was really about, and then how do you get, and a lot of change management. So everybody at every site I went to go see was happy to do things the same way, as long as it was their way and the other sites sort of adopted their way. Right?
Yeah, you got to build trust with these guys, and everybody wants to be the hero of their own story. I mean, I understand.
That's it. So my background really is, I graduated at engineering with Mike. I did 0 days of engineering. I could not stand it. By the time I graduated, I thought, okay, I've really made a mistake here. I contemplated going and doing industrial engineering or even operations research, and I even put in some applications to go to grad school. And then I thought, I'm just tired of school, so let me just go in and try and learn. And I went into a kind of a manufacturing role for process improvement and implementing ERP systems of all things. And that's where I got my systems knowledge and trying to understand, you have to understand data and how data from one area flows to another area. And a lot of important stuff, but it's definitely different than engineering. It's definitely different than making booze and selling booze and things like that. But it's basically the skills that I developed: team building, change management, the ability to put multi-million-dollar programs together around the globe and manage people by Zoom. I don't even know what we used back then. There was no Zoom back in 2004. But, lots of traveling and things like that. Conference calls and, 100,000 miles a year on a plane and things like that.
So it's great how you went off and developed your process of creating something, and then you found your niche, right? And you go off, and y'all both come from engineering backgrounds, and you both you kind of engineer. You engineer a business, and you engineer a process, right?
Engineering is really just problem solving in a domain.
Yeah.
It's just problem solving.
Yeah, exactly. So
they teach you the critical thinking skills that you needed. Like, what is the problem? How do you break it down? How do you go about pinpointing the issues? How do your research? And just, it's not so much the knowledge base. It's different like chemistry, which is, to me, more rote memorizations of like, this is the way things work. And engineering,
if you put this with this is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Just, it's out there. But engineering seems to be, at least from my opinion, is you have a brand new problem. It's just, how do you solve that? I would take everything you know how to do and come together and reformulate it and tackle the problem.
And if you're not breaking it, you're not doing it right.
I'll buy that.
All right. Well, you've been showing me this for quite a minute. So
let's taste it.
Which one? Taste it.
You guys brought it.
Absolutely.
So it's a Skinny Bee?
So this is a new product line we've got called Skinny Bee. And Skinny Bee has been around, I would say, in concept for...
Yeah.
There we go.
Meridian Hive, y'all.
Skinny Bees have been around this in concept
Look
for
at that color. That's pretty.
over a
It is
year.
gorgeous. Get on the YouTubes, fellas.
Thank you.
And this was our first product. And we developed this. This is blueberry vanilla. Mike can tell you all about the
Good,
formulation.
good combination.
And really what we were...
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. I am sorry. Did I miss the name of this one?
This is blueberry.
Blueberry. Oh,
All right. So it is blueberry with a hint of vanilla in it.
oh nice.
So we'll tell you a little bit of about this. This is obviously better for you. It's going at the same crowd. It's 100 calories, it's 2 grams of sugar, and it's 4% alcohol.
Yeah.
So what we say is this is what you reach for when you're ready to graduate from seltzer.
Yeah, this is a patio
No
pounder right
offensive
here.
to the
You drink this
seltzer
all day
guys.
long on the boat.
Yeah.
You know.
That was the idea.
And the vanilla really gives it like a little bit of a like, you know, you say you take some of the sugar out of it, it kind of gives some of that sweetness back.
Correct, and that's actually the hard. I think a lot of the seltzers out there, they're using artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, you don't get that.
We don't use any artificial sweeteners, so everything's really dry,
want this.
literally really dry
Take it all day
as
long.
far as sugar content. So I've got to add some complexity to it because there's only so much fruit character you can put back into this before the sugar content starts or the calorie content starts rising, and so I'm kind of limited on my, and it's real fruit rather than artificial sweeteners thrown on
Yeah,
top
you can
of it.
taste the, you know, the blueberries got that nice like soft, like, you know, when you eat a blueberry sometimes you expect it to be this like super sweet like fruit. Pow.
Sure.
But it's like this watery sort of like soft, delicate blueberry flavor.
So this is one of those times that Mike doesn't like me. So we say, look, we're going to launch this new product.
Okay.
And it's going to have 2 grams of sugar. He says, what do you want me just to walk by the tank with a bucket of fruit? Sort of
Sounds like a comment. I like that. It's perfect.
I say, yeah, there are constraints with this, but this is the market we're going for. And I think again, it's I don't want to say that Mike is free to do what Mike does, and Mike does absolutely great work on every product, every challenge that we've given him, and he just comes out with all the great stuff on his own. So he never wants to do something like this, and then whenever he delivers it, it's amazing, right? It's amazing, but it is tough because honey is not necessarily calorie free, and fruit is not calorie free nor sugar free. So to say we're going to keep it 100 calories and 2 grams of sugar, those are some pretty hard constraints, and you can, and it's got to taste good, right? Because you could make a bad product with those stats all day long, but
So
it's
like
got to taste
75%
good.
of the calories in this is just from alcohol, nothing to do with sugar.
Wow.
Just the alcohol content.
So
Crazy.
you get 25
It's
calories.
very flavorful for that.
I get about 25 calories to put with the fruit in here.
But in every can,
In every can, right.
100 calories is very impressive.
It is, and this is really good. I'm serious. I mean, this is like you could drink this all day long and not really probably even get dehydrated.
It's interesting because now the blackberry, I know this is the blueberry, but that's like it's so much more rich because I'm thinking of right?
Yes.
And
it is. People drink this and go, "Wow, that's really good." And especially if people have been drinking seltzers that have a hint of flavor, we drink this and we like to say, "Look, you can skip the calories, but not the flavor with this, right?
Yeah,
this is real flavor." And then they go crack one of our core brands, right? And they go, "Oh yeah,
There we go.
this is flavor." And that's Mike's point on that. It's like, well, it's not going to have any flavors. It's going to have enough flavor for what we're looking for,
Yeah.
the target audience that
No,
we're
it's
doing.
It's a different target audience.
I mean, you take that grapefruit and you put it with some tequila.
I'm not saying it's
Have you
good.
tried it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'd do it.
Definitely.
You'll have to try that on
I
your
bet
next
that's
trip
really,
down.
really great.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
You know, like a little paloma.
Did we mention, so there's blueberry, cranberry, acai,
Yes.
yeah, and grapefruit.
Taronja.
What's the thought process behind the flavors?
So there's a couple of things. We'll go with the thought process on flavors is really we try and do a couple of things. One, while we like to say we're going to do whatever we're going to do, we're also market driven. So we go and look at data. We look at what flavors of White Claw and Truly are selling, what is selling, and we look at national data from IRI or from Nielsen. So we try and, I don't want to say we're trend followers and not trend setters, but we do we want to make something and we want it to sell, right?
And that's one of those fights that we have because I'm like, are we setting the trends? Are we following trends? But there's there's a reason why I plateaued.
There's a
on the
market
business.
for it.
Right. And like, I'm just trying to be a trendsetter. And it's like, full stop. And,
Well,
it's
and
like,
also-
so it's a fine balance. That's why we work well together.
Yeah.
Knowledge
I like
is
it.
power. It can't hurt to know, right?
That's
You
it.
know, right?
You know, and if and really we say, look, because we had some other ones on here. So it's really when you're in business and you've got to have costs that make sense. The fruit's got to be available. Like I can't have Mike say I've got this great recipe and you got to fly to, Southern Colombia to get this ingredient. It's awesome. That's not scalable, right? So we have to just balance a lot of ingredients. We have to balance costs. We have to balance freshness, like all of these things, and then sugar content as well. So we actually went out to develop these flavors. What did we buy? 30 different cans of seltzer and
Oh yeah, well that's the bench
RTDs,
trial.
and
You go out there and you get them all at the same time. It's like, okay, certainly the ones that we were planning to make. Let's go find out what the competitors are making. And so we had nearly everybody in our shop, and like 12 people, sit around. We just bought cases of stuff, and it was like, okay, everything that has blueberry
That's a
or
fun
acai
day.
in it.
I want to go to that next meeting.
That's it.
Well, it turns out I was not happy with a lot of them. I was like, who's drinking this stuff? This
Yeah.
is not tasty, in my opinion. I couldn't drink a lot of them.
No,
personally.
it's an interesting. A lot of people are into them.
I really like this one.
I'm glad you do.
It's fantastic. I mean, I drink White Claws every once in a while. I'm not gonna lie, but
I don't understand it.
I don't either. If you go down the grocery store aisle, though, the bubbly water aisle, they've got all the different LaCroix and all the different flavored waters.
Sure.
Grapefruit is always in that. It's always the top. And
Pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse. Toronja,
And so
I
what
always
we
buy
did
it.
is we tasted all. Let's get all the grapefruits, right? Let's put them together, and we just look at ourselves, and we go, you know what? We can do better than this. Actually, the humans of Austin, the humans of Texas deserve better than this. And
Nice.
Mike,
Like that.
we'll see you in 2 weeks. Go
Yeah.
do your magic.
Goodbye and good luck.
Come back with something. And Mike's always, like I said, Mike always delivers. So that's kind of how we come up with the flavors. We look at data, but then we test the market. And we say, can we do better than this? And we think we can. We think it's better for you. We've got real fruit. We've got pure honey in there. And, we don't put anything artificial in there.
What did you say? This is you graduate from the seltzers? Is this
When you're ready to graduate from
okay.
seltzer.
Yeah. You know what? I'm on board with that.
Yeah, go to it.
Well, this is what you tell people. Why
When is this available? Spring of 2021.
So
For the mix pack.
the mix pack. So this
Okay.
one is available today at HEB.
We can get it right now.
So
and this one too.
Okay.
So this will tell you a little bit about how things like this work, at least in a bootstrapped company like ourselves,
Yes.
right? You make a product, you put it out to HEB, and you're thankful that HEB is a great partner. So when we put out a new product, they give us shelf space, and they're really great for us, right? And we put it out there, and then we watch sales. We watch sales for a month. We watch sales for 2 months. We watch sales for 3 months, and go, oh, that's doing pretty well. And we always benchmark it against Blackberry, which has been our number one seller since the dawn of time, right? I'm like, okay, that's doing pretty good. Let's put out the next flavor. Let's put out Cranberry. Oh, and look, it's just about fall time, so that should be good. Tie it into Thanksgiving, tie it into Christmas. Okay, let's look at the sales. And the plan was, let's check the sales of those, and then let's put this variety 4-pack together. While I was, as we mentioned before we started here, I was down in Mexico and Colombia, and I get a email saying, hey, we've got to have a real live mock-up of not only the variety pack box, but also the flavors and the cans in front of HEB on December 9th. And I think I got this email on November the 13th or something like that. I'm thinking, that's not a lot of time. We have no cardboard. Like that box doesn't exist. We don't have any artwork. Mike hadn't made a side. I didn't even think at that point we had maybe even decided what the flavors were.
I think we were about to make our first large batch of cranberry, but I had not made a pilot of the grapefruit yet, and I had not done the acai one yet.
Wow.
I'd started to it as a failed acai.
Well, we got it on the 13th of November, and we had until the 9th of December.
So 3 weeks.
It was not a lot of time. So, and meanwhile, I'm not around, and they don't really even let me in the production area to be. Let's just call it what it is.
Right off of crunch time when you came in.
Yeah, that's how this guy rolls. I mean, yeah, it passes down and he's like, get to it. And I'm like, well, okay, here we go.
But when you've got an opportunity, and the reason that we needed to get in by that date was to try and get in front of all the HEB buyers, and they do what's called the spring set. And so we just got word, I think 2 weeks ago, that we made the top 100 premium HEBs with this packaging. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, cheers. So.
Cheers.
So now we've got boxes, artwork's done. It's in the printer. They're going to be coming. Products are in the tank as we speak. So
Are we on board with the artwork here, Mike? We a fan of the artwork on the skinny bee?
Oh yeah, I've actually been behind the whole rebranding for many years now. Like it's suited. They won me over with the logo. The old logo, if you put it on a shirt, it kind of looked like a giant target, just because it was like a big paper lantern looking thing. They were like, you can wear this like a superhero, and I was like, all right, that was the singular thing that won me over.
We need that superhero.
Meat man.
I do like. I actually like the art.
I think it looks great.
It is cool.
It would catch my eye. I'm walking by, and be like, what is that?
Yeah.
excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And so we're super excited. I mean, to be really honest, this is a big deal for Meridian Hive. So we have culled products in the past. We've had more products. We've had to scale them back. I don't think we've ever had a bigger deal or a bigger launch than what's happening with Skinny Bee.
And it's going to be easy to grab, bottom shelf, ready to go.
I don't know.
They're
It
gonna be straight in?
depends on which. It
How
depends
big
on
is
which
the box?
It's an 8-pack.
Eight-pack,
It's an 8-pack, okay.
Yeah, big.
So it depends on where they put us in the. We're going to be right next to the seltzers, probably to the right of the seltzers, the better for you section, and should be 2 or 3 high, right in
Oh,
the
you're right
middle
there
of
at
the calls.
arm's reach then.
That's
Good. For all those ladies.
So we are, it's very exciting for us, and it's been a lot of work. Everything from the packaging side, the design side, getting labels. I think the labels aren't even in yet for the acai berry and the grapefruit. I think they're coming in next week. So this is we don't like to cut things just in time. I say that. He probably will disagree. A lot of the stuff we do.
I'm the lagging indicator.
I call it business driven, right?
Yeah,
So
I
we,
mean, a little pressure always helps. Little pressure.
that's it. Well, let's
Yeah, the cranberry.
try this cranberry.
Yeah, but you mentioned your. Oh, sorry. Yes, let's enjoy that moment of
In stereo.
like your passion for beer, like stouts, right? We were talking about this.
Correct.
And I've noticed in my own personal experience over the past week or two, or however long
Thank you
it's
very
been
much.
since you've been here, that a nice, refreshing Meridian Hive is very nice to throw in the mix of that liquid diet.
Salud.
Cheers again.
So we've got cranberry.
I
here.
like that sound.
Is it only cranberry in this one? Or
This has some orange zest in it as well.
Ooh, cranberry
So
orange.
all of these
It's like-
have, even though they have a singular name on them, I like to have a little complexity to all of them. So all of them have something extra.
It's like a cranberry compote.
Correct. Well, for this one, I just really wanted some orange as a complexity in the nose more than anything else. So you probably won't
Yeah, I
get
get
any
it.
orange in the nose.
Very artistic.
It's good. It kind of hits you on the cheeks
like
a little bit too.
This one's going to be more tart than
Yeah.
the other ones, right?
I like that.
Very good.
This will be good with a little bit of vodka.
Not gonna lie, these are great. I mean, you said like for the
Canned
ladies.
cocktails.
No, these can be thrown in the mix.
I mean, yeah, first time I see one of these, it's in my hand.
oh yeah, we roll like that.
Awesome. I'm glad you could. I mean, I love drinking them as well. Like they're nice and easy to throw into the mix. I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a good breakfast drink.
It would be great for breakfast.
It's good.
And from what I'm
Camping
gathering, a little vodka in it
Throw
as
some
well.
vodka in
Oh,
it,
that's in
you
the
know?
afternoon.
Or maybe. I mean, it depends on if it's Sunday or not.
That's it. That's it.
So, which is the favorite, if I might ask, of the four?
I think, personally, for me, it will be the acai.
Oh,
Oh,
acai.
really? Did you bring any of them or
No, it's
So the
actually
acai is not ready.
it's top secret?
it's not. It's not ready yet. Actually, they're making it today, tomorrow.
So
You
we're
got to drink it out of the teat.
It's in the tank right now.
okay.
Yes.
Cool. So this will be fun to look forward to.
I do.
Yeah, because I want to taste that one.
So I'm like, they keep telling grapefruit is one of the big ones that nationwide is it's a
Oh, I'm
very
sure.
very
Oh, yeah.
extremely popular. It's not my favorite fermented beverage flavor, but it's a very very popular one. So
Yeah?
that's why I would say is not my personal favorite of the four. But that's just a personal. That's just a personal.
But
thing.
your favorite seasonal? Oh, is cherry's still seasonal, right?
Oh yeah, cherry is still my favorite.
But a cranberry cherry,
Oh, yeah, I can
I'm
mix
sorry,
any of these.
acai berry. Yeah, I was thinking of this one though. This is
cranberry.
very good.
I like the cranberry a lot.
Cranberry's great.
I mean, I enjoy
It's
this
hard
one.
with some of these because some of the fruit are a lot more acidic or more bitter than others, and playing around with the sugar content, the amount of alcohol you have, and like its tartness can be kind of overwhelming to some people.
But this would be so good with a sandwich.
Oh yeah, Absolutely.
And that's
You know?
that's a great point, and it's what I've been trying to. You can't imagine the number of times we've had sales reps, and I've just got a new Meridian Hive and cheese pairing, and I used to just say, just stop, stop. This is not wine. Like, have this with a hot dog in the backyard
Yeah,
on
with
the
a
grill.
bratwurst.
Have this with pizza. Just we want for normal humans to realize you can drink this. You don't have to be a wine snob. You don't have to have just slain a dragon. You don't have to have just won a jousting match with your buddy.
You can.
You can.
You can.
Don't let it stop you, but you don't have to. You can just be a regular human and enjoy Meridian Hive. And it's moving in that direction.
When
right?
they're like cheese plate, you mean grilled cheese.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fancy grilled cheese.
Yeah, fancy grilled cheese. And then you can put on Skyrim or whatever the latest, greatest game is. Right?
Indeed.
Yes.
He'll go. I'm not a gamer, but I think I
I'm
got
not
you.
either.
I tried to do that. I was late to the game, though, when it was already kind of too.
The Skyrim thing?
Yeah, I got it for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was way late.
Way late. way late.
Like
so I missed
several years.
So I was like, this is all not as cool as everyone said it was.
Yeah, it was a lot of hype machine before you got to it.
Yeah. My daughter's not into it either, but whatever. But maybe with some mead.
Right.
Yeah.
For your,
Get back into it. So anything about the process of the cranberry one?
No, I mean it's kind of a lot of them are very similar process. In order for us to do the volume that we do, in order to meet certain production schedules set by certain people, they've got to be very. We've just got
He
to
means
the
the
point where
consumers.
camera.
He means the consumers that continue to buy it.
Yeah, I'll take an acai in a day. Well, so okay. Sorry if I'm cutting you off, but the orange intent was for on the head there. With the acai and the grapefruit, do they have anything special going on there?
well, acai is going to have like blackcurrant in it, so that's probably my favorite fermented beverage fruit.
Okay.
I love blackcurrant, and there's not too much of that in the South. And the grapefruit is going to have some rosemary in it.
Ooh.
So, but that's a super powerful
Yeah,
herb.
but it's a
So
great idea.
just to have just a hint of it. I've made a batch before that had like hops and rosemary and grapefruit, and it was great and it went over very, very well. So as Cayce wanted to have a grapefruit laden one, I was like, what can go with that citrus kind of character? And I wanted to do something with a savory one. I've always liked this whole not sweet, but the savory angle on these without being overly powering. I just want to have just a hint where you get it, but it's going, oh, it's there. It's just there, and that's a hard challenge to try to find that out. Like I've made several 5-gallon batches, and we're doing our first. We just jumped from 5 to 1,500 gallons. So a lot of times spices don't scale that well, and we're going to find it's better to go under a little bit and then bring it slowly up, other than clobbering
Are
over
you
the
using
head.
fresh rosemary?
Fresh rosemary.
Yeah, man.
So I only use like the nut extracts if I'm going to use anything, because it's really hard to get any kind of flavor out of, like, say, almonds.
Yeah.
You have to go with almond extract. There's no way.
Or you just burn the shit out of the almonds first.
Yeah, you can toast them, and that brings up. But a lot of actually that character dies fairly quickly within a couple of months.
Really?
In alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
Like toasted coconut.
Yeah.
That turns into kind of a nutty character rather than retains its coconutiness.
So you go to oil after that. That's what you said.
Yeah,
right?
the or just tinctures.
Okay.
Yeah, in that respect. But for this one, we're gonna do, like, we're using real orange zest for the cranberry one, and we'll be using real rosemary and real acai powder.
So y'all could get into like Denver and Oregon and cross boundaries with talking about tinctures.
Oh yeah.
definitely.
We've talked about it here, and we can. I think legally we can do it, but no retailer will touch it because there's just enough gray area that nobody knows if.
Are you
they're
talking
gonna
about
be
here
able-
or there?
Here, over there, yeah, we could.
Yeah.
we definitely could. Yeah,
Yeah.
And then one day maybe here.
yeah.
One day.
That's
mean-
it. So it is. I mean, Mike touched on it a minute, but to go from a small batch and everyone, we try it. Okay, try this, change this. Okay, yep, we get it where we like it. Now, all right, let's make 1,500 gallons of
Yeah,
this
so that's a
stuff.
big jump.
It's a huge jump, and it's always
Super scary.
very nerve wracking because to throw away 5 gallons is like not really.
Do you have
and
like an
and
algorithm
I don't like
that's
that.
written that you just like plug the stuff in there and it just boom?
To some degree, I have spreadsheets
Yeah.
and things as far as I can calculate where, but I go back and forth, especially the first time I'm doing this, because I look maybe at what other people have utilized, and a lot of times you can find recipes on people making alcoholic beverages and what but no one ever follows up. So I threw this thing together and they just it just trails off. So I'm like, that's somebody's starting point. So I have to look at maybe other ones and go, what are the starting points? And I have to make my own and find out how much I like that, or I know enough now to find out if I need to back it off by a percentage, increase it by a percentage, and that's why I make 3-4 pilots sometimes on what it is.
But then you have these notes and you've got this history and you're creating this legacy of how to do this and to be like.
By the time we've made our second batch, third batch, it's dialed in. It's dialed in and we're there. But always on the first one, and we've learned, you know, have you
ever messed up 1,500 gallons?
Never.
No.
We're professionals, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we've never really messed up a really large batch.
Nothing that wasn't fixed.
Yeah, I mean, there was
that
in
one
the early
Cranberry.
days, we messed like a couple of 500-gallon batches up. You know, in the beginning, honey's expensive, so anything, you know, you have a lot riding on your name. I'm in a niche product. I'm the first one when I drink a new brewery's beer, I have a lot of like my threshold of like how the same the beers can be as far as like the water profile. Do the carbonation's different? How much of these guys are just trying to get it out the door? They're trying to understand their equipment. They're starting off brand new, and if it's just the first 2 batches are just all over the place, I'm like, well, I might come back to you in 6 months. So you lost me for 6 months. Sure. I'll come touch base again. But if it's reasonably good, it's like I'll keep with you guys. I'll put money back in your pocket so that you guys can keep making it, and like I'll see the settling of the error of how close they get to it. For us, we're the only ones in the game, so I'm trying to get people to take their $20 and it's not just a beer with people, you know, a new brewery. What kind of beer do you make? You say a meadery. They're like, they don't even know what that is. They're saying, are you a butcher shop? They don't even have a clue what it is. And so for us was I couldn't dump anything down the drain. So I had to be very, very, very apprehensive. We would go very slow on making changes to anything. Like I had to be super meticulous about that in the very beginning. So there was one batch that I can remember that went south on us. And I was like, I have to throw this away. This is money.
Yes.
And I couldn't risk the name of the company, because if you have it bad one time, they won't come back.
All it takes is once.
All it takes is once, and you're just ruined. So we had to dump that batch.
Yeah.
So what happened? What was wrong with it?
It over.
Why you got to go there?
It over fermented, and so the ABV went through the roof, and it was way drier than it needed to be. And there was not much way to fix it because the alcohol content was above a threshold, so I couldn't dilute it because they would have diluted all the spices into it, and I just really couldn't do much with it. It wasn't like
Was it like a sour at that point?
It wasn't bad fermentation. It was our yeast. It went further along than I wanted it to.
And so was that because of time or with like an outside factor?
It was still when we were trying to stop fermentation.
Okay.
Now we just know to add a certain amount of sugar to it, and the sugar gets completely depleted. So it has
It's a
hard stop.
Gotcha.
There's nothing else to do, and so we go through the process. But in the beginning, we were trying to start higher and let it go so that I wasn't adding any raw honey back to it. But I didn't know where my ABV, the ABV just went to like 3. It went from 7% to 10%. And that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to have a certain, but it was also completely dry comparatively. Where I wanted to have some residual. You're trying to do repeatability, trying to make the same product over and over.
Oh
again,
yeah,
like
consistency is key.
It's super key. So that was the one time that we had it, and it was very, very early in our game.
Can I request a flavor, or maybe you thought of it? All right, so. You get the honey, because this is a drink I do. Lemon, ginger, cayenne.
I think I've had that.
Have you done that?
No, but lemon, ginger, cayenne.
Honey.
How sweet would you want that? Like a semi-sweet or like?
See, he wants an alcoholic beverage when he gets sick, right?
Right.
That's
I like that drink anyway.
So you had our lemon beforehand, and
yes.
that's got a lot of acidity to it,
right?
And so it was very sharp, but also it was it's on the low end of where I start the range from crossover from semi-sweet to sweet. It's basically at that line, but it's just a little hair up on the
I don't know
on the
if I'd
sweet
be
side.
going for sweet, but I like the idea of a bite.
Did you?
Do you like the acidity?
Did you have the peach last time?
I mean, there's some more in there. Yeah, that I brought
I think we have all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we've experienced.
But we could try it
We've
again.
been experienced.
That's why we only had 2 of these, and I was like, well, we should bring other ones.
Yes.
Is that all you brought? Was 2 of those?
No, I have
Okay.
I have more of those. But as far as varieties, that other cooler.
Throw this off of here. Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just a thought floating around in my head.
So on the pepper side of things, so a lot of this is as we get out to the general market, peppers are one of those highly polarizing ones, like ginger. So
Yeah,
the ginger
ginger is
and
too,
the peach
right.
is very subtle. It's meant to add some complexity to it. So to add the tannins to give like a different mouthfeel to it, and to not make it just straight peach.
Right.
So ginger's one of those. Coconut is apparently polarizing for a lot of people. Don't like coconut.
Yeah, there's I as a chef, I'd make a coconut dish or whatever, and people are like, I don't like coconut. Like, what do you mean you don't like coconut?
That's what I say
so
too.
Weird.
I'm like, it's weird, and I like hot peppery things too. So like, I don't consider anything hot.
Habanero jelly,
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly. It's not hot unless I'm sweating while I'm eating it.
And I was thinking maybe there was no idea for ginger because it just creeps into like ginger beer territory or a ginger brew or something
Ginger
like that.
ale.
Ginger ale. I don't know.
I mean, it's because you can go different levels on all of them. It's like what you make a request. I can make a concoction of those different things, but it may not be I could give you like a slider on like acidity, sweetness, and like you slide them where you want. It's like I can make that for you and find a balance that works with the flavors involved with that. Or I can just do it my own.
Yeah.
But it may not be what you had in your mind. That's oftentimes with my pilots. I have this thought in my mind about what I wanted, and then you make it. And it's like, man, everybody says this is great. I'm like, it's not what I had in my mind.
Mix.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this.
Oh, I remember
know what
our
he's
last tasting with
Thank
these.
you.
Everything was that's a mix.
Yeah,
Here, let me,
we got a Blackberry Lemon. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Right. It's great with cherry as well.
I would just remember
Cherry
being
lemonade.
like blown away at every flavor. Like going, oh, that's not what I was expecting.
Blackberry lemonade,
Yes.
alcoholic.
We were doing a lot of this with
Not me.
75% of the lemon and like 25%
And what's your middle name?
Christopher.
Christopher's Lemonade. Christopher's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, there you go. Christopher's Hard Lemonade.
Chris's Hard Lemonade.
That's
Cheers.
it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
try
this
that. I mean,
was-
this is what you get to do when you're at the Hive all the time. And,
Oh yeah, we had it on tap. It was like, psh.
and you just go for what mixes well, what doesn't mix well.
Oh,
and
I see.
Blackberry lemonade.
I mean, it really is something
go.
that I look at this stuff, and of course, I'm just trying to sell more of this stuff. And I'm thinking,
It's smart.
we don't even need to do anything except for mix these 2 products in the bright tank
Yeah.
and can
No,
it
no,
on
no.
the day. Just
Leave them in the cans, and then you sell 2 cans.
there you go.
And then you tell the salespeople, here's how you do it. You mix these 2 together. You just blew my mind.
I like the idea of mixing them.
And then you say 75-25. You you think about Pappy, right? Mm-hmm. Right. People are taking the old Weller Antique and the Weller 12, and they're mixing them together, and they're making poor man's Pappy, right? It has the same mash bill as Pappy Van Winkle.
Really?
Give you that.
I did not know. Hey, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know
Right?
you like that better.
If you can find the bottles.
Soundbite. So I'm sorry. Did the lemon? That's a different can.
No, I think the last time I brought. Oh,
Wait, let's see.
So the lemon used to
Oh,
be.
there's one lemon in there. Yeah.
The lemon used to be in 2 different cans, same product.
Okay.
yes.
There you go.
Okay.
So this is like the local.
I actually thought you poured that out of that, and I was like, oh, it's a new one.
New one, gotcha. So the thought behind, so our lemon product, and we talk about Be Conscious and things like that, and was that stuff in there? We decided in, I think it was either late 2018, 2019, that we were going to, we're from Austin. We want to give back to Austin. He's a musician.
Were you born in
I had
Austin?
A drummer, not born in Austin.
I've been here in almost 30 years now.
I got here in '89.
I got here in 90. There you go. You about 90 as well? 92?
Yeah, 93.
Yeah. So
I'm the
He was
baby
born
or-
here. Were you born here?
No.
Chicago.
2012.
No one except for my
I
nephew
know the
was born
unicorns.
here.
The people that are born here.
Exactly.
I know like 4 people.
So we decided we want to give back. So a portion of proceeds from Texas Lemon, we call this, goes to support various charities, whether it be ham or Black Fret, things
Okay.
like
Yeah,
that.
good. That's your decision, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that is our give back. And what we wanted to do was,
What was the
take a
other one?
portion of that. Was that
Ham and what?
Black Fret?
I've not heard of that.
Oh, okay. So they're a great organization that help young musicians or even experienced
Oh, it's
musicians,
all
but help them. It's all musicians. Focused,
All
right?
musician
And-
related
I think
Yeah.
that's on the about page, right, or something like
Yeah.
that.
So they're great, and so we decided to give that back. Now, for whatever reason, we thought, well, we're going to send this stuff out of state, so we're distributed in 9 states outside of Texas. Are they really going to be concerning themselves with supporting local Texas musicians? We still want them to have lemon, so we just made a lemon
Sure.
label
okay, so
just
this is
to send
Gotcha.
out. But
I follow.
what we worked out is that it doesn't really matter. So this is a piece of legacy technology. These labels don't exist anymore.
Oh, then-
Everything is going just straight to this.
I'm going to keep it in there.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
So that's our treasure.
I mean, but I
chest.
really I like the eye appeal of this can better than this one.
That's a cool can.
It is. Looks great. I like the the contrast.
That's it. And it's our designer is very, very much like Mike. If you give him something and you say this is what we're after, and just give him a bit of free reign, he comes back with killer designs, and he does
Bees,
really great work.
hexagrams, and honey dippers.
Very cool. So, yeah, no, these are great. I want to get to. Do you remember a segment that we do on this podcast? The only segment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our favorite segment.
Well, our favorite segment is.
I thought about it more than I did last
Did you?
time.
All right,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
He's prepared.
Okay. Well, your favorite places here in town to eat at. I guess we'll start with Cayce. No, wait. You know what? Start with you. You've prepared.
Madam Mam's is what I was going to
Ooh,
say.
good
That's
spot.
and I could probably eat Tatsuya ramen every day if I thought my wallet would allow me to eat that
I can
multiple
agree
times
with
days.
that. Do you? I mean,
I love
How do you
Japanese
like
ramen.
when you sit down and it just comes? Are you? a
I
fan?
love it.
You love that.
I'm like, just go up to the bar, order it, and you go sit down. And it's like, ta-da, there it is. I mean,
Yeah.
how long it takes those guys to prepare their ramen stock is like 30, 60 hours.
Oh yeah. And the eggs and the pork belly and all the
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
so delicious.
Chatsu. I tried to make it at my house, and I was like, I'm just gonna get it from these guys because it's a raging pain to do this for 2 people.
Yeah.
So that means you've been over to. Oh, it's eluding me. The on the east side, the barbecue tank on
See
it,
him?
across from Il Bruto.
Oh,
I have not been there.
Kimiri.
Ken Murray, yeah. Ken Murray Tatsuya.
I've not been over there yet.
You got to go.
So Wednesday, is it? When is it? When is this happening? We're having a
Oh yeah, Wednesday, February 3rd.
February
at
3rd.
Bolden Acres is our previous podcast, which literally aired the moment y'all walked in here. Is CM Smokehouse? He's not new to Austin, but he just returned to Austin from Waco.
from Waco. He went to Waco to start a barbecue and a ramen place, and so he's got a barbecue place here at Meridian, or excuse me, at Bolden Acres.
And he's doing the ramen.
He's going to do a ramen pop up on Wednesday, every Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. He's going to do a ramen pop up until
He
he,
wants
sells
to
out
do
bowls.
it every Wednesday. I re-listened to that.
Okay,
Where is this going to be? The east side?
So Bolden Acres, it's south Lamar.
it's across from what Black Horse?
It's near Black Sheep Lodge.
Black Sheep.
It's
Yeah,
near
yeah.
that Brooklyn breakfast.
Right.
Over by Rob's
Brooklyn
place.
Pizza Shop.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Wednesday,
February
if y'all
3rd,
are
we
close,
should give him help. We should all show up.
we'll be there at what? What time are we going to be there? 6:30 ish.
I think he said he
starting at
starts at
7.
7. But we're going to bring some farm bucks from JBG and hand them out to anybody who comes.
Awesome.
Sweet.
And also throw him in the weeds real quick.
Yeah, that's right. Especially if we could bring you guys, that'd be fun.
All right.
It'll be
I've
fun.
written it down.
Are you guys at the Bolden Acres? Do you know?
I'm a little bit embarrassed, but also a little bit proud. I'm not even sure all of the accounts that we're in these days,
Well,
which,
that's
is,
okay.
which is
You got-
great.
yeah,
I'm not.
That's a good problem.
Yeah.
Right?
I do see a lot of customers coming through in some of the reports and things like that. Like, I don't even know where that place is. And then I drive down what used to be a street that I recognized called South Lamar
Oh, yeah.
in the 90s.
Oh,
And like,
it's a little different now.
oh, there's that. I didn't know that used to be this place, you know,
just
back in the
just a
day.
wee
And
bit
yeah,
different.
it's a lot different.
Like I went into my Harold Supply. Does anybody remember that?
You talk about it a lot. You talked about it last week.
I know. I think I'm going to keep bringing it up. Harold Supply, Old Torf. Nobody?
On Old Torf, was that next to ABGB's or was that ABGB's?
There we go. I'm not crazy.
right.
That was a real
He's happy now.
tool shop. Yeah.
That's the neighborhood I grew up in over there.
Nice,
Yeah.
yeah. I stored a vehicle in there for a while.
All right.
Yeah. Any others?
I still like Papacitas, personally.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get a bad meal at any Papa's restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, so
Papa Dough's great.
Papa Do's, Papacitos, Papa's Brothers.
The cedar plank. Didn't we do a cedar plank thing recently? Where was it? Oh, that was Paul Martin.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Okay, sorry.
But I was just trying to think about a lot of stuff, and I was like, I just like a lot of Asian food. I like I like world food, I suppose. As far as I like the complexity. That's kind of what gets me into trying new, different spices for some of this stuff.
Have you been to 888?
888?
So it's on East Oltorf?
Yeah, lots of times.
Great place.
Yeah, great place.
Great.
I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, I used to go a lot more often.
Casey, any favorites? And hey, they don't have to exist I
Yeah.
mean, like you're talking about some things that have come and gone. It changes like the wind here these days.
Yeah, and I'm going to be. I should have prepared because I did listen to the podcast, and I did not.
That's just
and
the only question I like to ask.
It's really twofold. One, I don't know if you guys know this. So I was living in Australia. I moved back in February 19. All right. Hit the ground running. Spent way too much time putting everything I had into Meridian Hive. I don't go out to eat. I eat inside, and so I don't go out. Or
it's not. That's
what
not,
I do is this: I love to drink quite a few small beers. So I go to breweries on Saturday, and I will just get a flight.
Yeah.
If they have 14 beers, I'll get 4 flights just so I can have every one of them because I like to see. Are they a one-hit wonder? Do they have good quality across? Like, we've got a
liquid
great
diet,
we got a
right?
great stout, but everything else sucks. Like, I would just like to see that, and so I guess my favorite food is whatever food truck is at the brewery.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if you guys have been
That's
to
a good answer.
Southern Heights Brewery, and that guy. What is the name of that? He even catered our Christmas party. And this is the other thing. My memory's going. It's not just the gray and the beard, but he did like was it Ted's barbecue or something like that. And he did like a barbecue, but Korean style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, right? And it was close to my house. I'm thinking, I could have a couple and get
Was it
home
like the
from here.
gochujang style? Or was it like a hoisin? Or
I think it was hoisin.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really
good.
great.
I
So
don't know what the other style is, but
I don't. If I can't pull this up quickly, I'll stop. But there's a place on Lamar. You guys know where TLC is. TLC. There used to be a pizza shop there by the movie theater.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the highball is there too.
Okay.
Soto's
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah.
There you go.
Soto.
Yeah, there's going to be a Korean barbecue place over
I
there.
love Korean barbecue. That's so. If you're asking me, Jason,
What?
what my favorite place to go to?
Oh,
You know, I really like to go to eat Korean barbecue. There's a couple good spots in Austin. The Korea House is an old school spot that's, in Austin, and they do some really cool Korean dishes. But I think Korean barbecue, I think any type of food where you can go and you can eat communally together, cause conversation,
it's not as common today.
and it's so much fun. But I don't know if y'all have had Korean barbecue. But they bring all this raw meat out, and you've got this little grill in the middle.
Okay, yeah.
And they call it
Absolutely.
banchan, and it's all the different sides, So they've got like the kimchi's, and they got the fermented veggies. They got all this, and then you get rice, and you get these little lettuce wraps. Maybe you get some daikon radish. You get some sauces. You get like some pepper with some lime in it, and you just make that meat, and you cook it, and you drink, soju and beer or whatever. And it's
great.
fun. It's
Okay.
fantastic.
we need to try that. I have not tried that before.
We'll go
That's
do it.
it.
I'll go with y'all.
all right. Oh, that sounds good. It's a
with
date.
that.
Yeah, and I think if you ask my partner, she'll say, "Yeah, your favorite food is the taco truck."
I love taco
because
trucks, too.
In Australia, for whatever reason, we've got enough stuff. We have enough of the ingredients for someone to put tacos together, but
They
it's
don't have
just,
tacos?
It's just not a thing. It's just not.
I'm moving to Australia.
You're moving. You're going to become a millionaire overnight.
And they don't do, because I also lived in Denver for 10 years. So in Denver, we had taco trucks, but what you also had was breakfast burrito trucks.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could drive through on the way to downtown office, and you'd go through the hood, and you could just stop at 3 or 4 different, get a nice breakfast burrito with green chili and things like that. Oh man, that's because I also lived in New Mexico when I was a kid.
the green
and
chilies.
the green chili in
Green
New
chili
Mexico, so I
cheeseburger.
just can't green chili.
Anything.
Blank. Yes, that's what I grew up eating. So I miss that. So when I used to come here, I would go to the only places that had it were Chewy's back in the day, and I think Shady Grove might have had one dish that had the Hatch green chili. Now you can find them roasting it at the the parking lot in the grocery store,
Chili
which is
Fest.
great.
Yeah,
Which
they
is
do
great.
that.
Yeah.
What Central? Oh, they do it.
Central
all
Market is
Whole
big.
Foods.
I think
the big
even
ones
like
that do it.
HEB's doing it now.
Yeah, man. There you go. There's a Hatch flavor in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard pressed. Even though I love it,
Right.
I don't like chili in beer. However, people that have tried it, most of them are.
It's hard to get
Okay,
away
it's
from the
hard.
green vegetal character, like almost the green bell pepper.
Yeah,
kind of
I get
character.
that.
That's the hardest part to get around with green chilies,
Right.
like jalapenos, same kind of thing, and alcoholic beverages.
And I think that
Poblanos.
when we get to a spot where we've got a killer tasting room and we've got an ability to do small batches,
Burn it, right?
We can do, well, we're looking at that place right now.
Okay.
So nothing is
Sorry,
sealed
I
or anything.
interrupted
That's
you,
all right.
but-
That's nothing is sealed, but we can go and do 10 kegs of something and 10 kegs of
Yeah.
this, and we can go play around a lot more. But right now, everything we have is geared up for hundreds of cases at a time, and really even our small batch production stuff is back in storage out of the way because we've just been running out of product. So it's just the bills are getting paid. Let's
Yeah.
just keep paying the bills with this. Let's keep growing with this. Let's keep the marketing going, getting more of the consumers aware that this is fermented honey is delicious and the flavors are delicious and everything is there. And so let's push that. Once we get to that spot where we can then have 15, 20 taps on the
Then you
wall,
play.
then it's time to go nuts.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I mean, it's what in the beginning we dabbled in going. There was no one knew what the market was. We were going to go for this lower alcoholic stuff, which no one had done. Everybody else that had started meadery was doing the high ABV stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, 50-50 volume. Let's see what it is. But it's ridiculous, like 97% canned product versus 3% volume on the other product. And they take a lot longer. They take a lot of handling, especially I'm using real whole fruit on that stuff. A lot of filtration takes a lot longer, and the volume is lower, and it's just more of a niche product where people buy it for a specialty occasion, and these people are buying as their replacement drink for what they would normally buy for beer or cider.
Oh,
So-
we're advocates. We're advocates.
Yeah.
We like it. We're fans.
Excellent. And so that's just where the business drove us, right? The business drove us to, and the consumers drove us to, let's make more of this. Let's make more of this. And if we were trying to start a company with 14% alcohol bottled wine products and trying to take over the wine industry with honey wine, that's a losing battle right now, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what the market demands. We've proven it by continuing to run out of product. We spent a lot of last year upping our game with new equipment. I really pushed the team, Mike will tell you, a lot to try and improve our techniques and never sacrificing quality, but can we get this done quicker? Can we make this happen? What happens if we cut out this step? And I'll ask all kinds of things, and they'll say, yeah, well, we're going to have real problems if we do. Okay, no problem. But I just continue to push. It's the balance between the art and the creative and the business side to say, look, if we could make this in 7 days instead of 12 days, this is how much more we could out. And we won't be running out of product all the time. I think we ran out of product probably 4 times last year because we just couldn't make enough, right? So we've geared up. We've been able to we're probably going to be able to make about 3 times more this year than what we did last year.
That's an excellent goal and achievement.
Yes. So that's the kind of stuff that it's probably the nerdy manufacturing side, but like you have to do that if you're going to make your own stuff. Right?
All the best leaders ask the right questions.
And and more, right?
And more.
What was that show, Fast and Loud? We'll wrap it up shortly. But Richard Rawlings?
Yeah.
I could see you, right? And you're in the shop.
Yeah.
You need to exchange the beard. Although he had left the show. What was his name? With the big beard?
He went off and started his own show.
What's the name of this one?
Fast and Loud. It's going off air, though. I think it did.
But
it was
there's
Discovery
several
Channel.
seasons.
Okay.
But they need to do a
Gas
Discovery
Monkey.
Channel Gas Monkey.
Gas Monkey.
They need to do a Meridian Hive Gas Monkey kind of concept.
We were approached at one
we got
point.
12 days and we got 7. Mike, cut to Mike and the crew doing their thing.
Never happens here. We got approached by someone to do one of those follow-along sort of reality TV shows
really?
about can we watch you guys grow and go through this? And we
Discussed it. You're like, no.
we almost said
idea.
yes, and then it was like, man, I just go like we're already under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we need these folks in our face. And
They've
like
been
I'm
bleeping
not
me
saying
out
it's
a
I'm
lot.
not saying it's total like rainbows and rivers of chocolate where we work because it is, but sometimes it's
I want a river of chocolate. It's like Wonka Land.
it's sometimes not, and the creative process is messy and trying to go through, and I mean growth is difficult, right? And it can be painful, and what was working last 3 months ago, why can't we just do that? Well, because sales are like this, so like we have to change. Like you always have to change. And I even keep asking myself, is there ever going to be a point where we can just sort of like sail the ship? Like we're always like building new oars and building new masts, and like we're always continuing
just doing
to
it right.
I think that means we're doing it right. It's, I suppose if I wanted a nice cushy job, I could go back to doing what I was doing
digging gold.
at a
That's easy,
fortune.
right?
That's the easy part, right? But I quit those jobs on purpose,
Dig for honey.
Oh, you're still digging for gold, yeah.
That's it.
Everything's going to be all right.
Well, beautiful. It's always a pleasure to have you all in here. You're welcome back anytime.
Please.
I know that Ryan was tossing around the idea. That's Brooklyn Breakfast Shop Ryan.
Yes.
Of wanting to, do one of these with y'all. So
Let's bring him in. Let's do it.
Soon.
Yeah.
There you go. Meridian Hive 3.0.
Hear that, Ryan?
We'll set that up. And we just set this up for Taco Mafia's coming in soon, so we've got all these extra microphones that are happening. So
Yeah, so we can get, what are we going to have? We're going to have 7 people in here.
Wow.
7. It's going to be a party.
It's going to be a party.
It's going to be a lot of, what is it? Stop tacoing over
yeah,
each
don't
other.
talk over each other.
Stay tuned for that one.
Don't talk
Excellent.
over one another.
Meridian Hive, is there anything, I know you guys have this coming out in the spring. Is there any other exciting news that people should know about?
Look, this is it. This is, March 1st. This is going to be on shelves. We're going to start in Austin. Then we'll start releasing it to our Texas distributor. So it should be by mid-March in Dallas and Houston and San Antonio. Maybe a little bit sooner in San Antonio.
It's a good birthday party drink.
It is definitely a good birthday party drink and a Sunday beverage, maybe with vodka.
That's it. And by, you should be able to find it in, like I said, the top 100 premium stores, although we're authorized in every HEB. So don't be surprised to see us even if it's not
Ask
a
our
premium.
HEB buyer.
That's where Texas shops.
That's it. So we're really excited about this. Like I said, it's been a project. I think the first utterance of the word Skinny Bee was October 2019 in a sort of marketing product planning meeting, and it took us about 6 months to get one product out, and then it just went quick, and that was happy for us. But when the head buyer at HEB looked at this product, which was, by the way, not this box that you see, it was an artist's rendition of what a box might look like, and he said, "I think this might be the future of your company." It gave us a lot of inspiration to get moving.
You kind of jump on that one.
Yeah, you're like a herd.
Yes, you cannot sort of look that and just say, "Oh, yeah, I thought he might like it. Yeah, maybe next year." No, we jumped on it. So, we're working as hard as we can to continue to make all the products that people want. We're getting ourselves into a lot of SKUs right now. So our goal is to keep everybody in stock and, keep getting more and more followers. Right?
Triple that inventory.
That's it. It's all just cleverly disguised cash until it
love
comes
it.
back in the door.
Good job, y'all.
Yeah, and thank you to Angie and your whole team for everything. And
Yeah, y'all
thank
been
thank
incredible.
Casey, Mike. Thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for
really
having
enjoyed
us.
it.
Oh yeah, we avoided all the puns too.
Thanks for the
Awesome.
Blackberry Lemonade. That was
We made
phenomenal.
it. All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks,
Cheers.
guys.